Welcome to Transforming with Drew, where we talk about all things transgender from F to M to M to Fs and how to change your life for the better. All right, so today we are welcoming my lovely friend Jenna. She's a strong trans woman who I met back in the day when I was young and confused. And now let's welcome Jenna. Jenna, how are you?
Hi, I'm very well, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm so excited that you could be here today. Would you like to do the typical, please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Jenna, and I transitioned in 2004. Well, the transition is a long process, but surgery to complete, as some people will say, she went and got finished in 2004. But I started transition a lot longer, or a lot farther back than that. I'm a DJ. I'm a producer and composer. Pianist. I'm also a software architect. That's how I pay for everything else. I'm a videographer and do a little bit of everything. So I was really interested in entertainment and really interested in logic, and just kind of did all of that.
As you would say, you're definitely the Jackie of all trades.
That's yeah. I'll agree with that.
So how old were you when you realized that you wanted to transition? That's a hard question.
Yeah, it's challenging because I knew there was something different when I was about 4 years old. I didn't know what that difference was. I had no comprehension of that. When I was about 11 or 12, when puberty started to kick in, that's when things really started to be confusing, because I knew I didn't like girls that way at that time. And since then, it then moved forward into very questioning. This was in the 70s, early 80s. So there wasn't a whole lot of resources. And I remember being on, I think it was Prodigy. And they had different pages on there that were devoted to cross-dressing and transsexualism and transgenderism. And I began to learn about that. I first really knew when I read a book I think it was in college, and it was the Christine Jorgensen story. And that's when everything started to kind of click. And I was like, I think this might be where I'm supposed to be going.
Mm-hmm. I love her. I wrote an article about her recently and read a bunch of information about her. She's definitely mind-blowing. I tell people all the time, I was like, I don't know where the USA went wrong, because we literally made her Woman of the Year. So, like, come on, people. Like, what is that? Like, we revered her. She was amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's amazing. So did you read her autobiography?
I think it was her. It's been so long now. I mean, since then, I've had other icons that have really really started to look up to, because they really more embodied what I was looking, who I am. So, but yeah, I believe it was her autobiography. It was a long time ago.
I remember meeting you. You were very open and very proud, and like, just the way you put yourself, it's for people who have not met you in person, the best way I can describe it is that your energy is so welcoming. It's so overwhelming in the best way. It's a light that kind of floods over you. So when I met you, you were just this embodiment of light, and like, what chose you to live out and proud?
So I don't know, it may sound kind of corny, it may sound kind of delusional, I don't know, but I'll tell you the story. So I grew up in a Christian household, and very loving Christian household. There was never any concerns about that. It's what you would call like good Christians, as opposed to the ones that we hear about that were like, yeah, you're just you're repeating the dogma. My family was not like that. My family was very much about love and respect, and believed in the stories of being Christ-like. I really struggled growing up, because I thought to myself, this is not right. I'm an aberration. I shouldn't exist. And I struggled with it. I struggled with it for years. When I moved to India, or when I left Indiana, moved to Florida, and still struggling with it. I was like, I would buy clothes and I would burn them, and then I would chastise myself. It was like something out of Sweeney Todd, just like mea culpa, but it wasn't, it was not good. I had a dream one night, and that's what kind of changed everything. The dream, in the dream, I was flying. I was living in Sarasota at the time, and I remember this dream so vividly. I was flying over Sarasota, and then I was flying over like all of Florida, and then flying all over the country, and then flying all over the world. And I could sense like other people or beings with me. And I could see, now remember, I've got like all this Christian dogma, in my brain. So this is just my brain just, kind of helped me resolve things. And I could see, and we would stop every now and then, and I would see different trans people or gay people or lesbians that were dealing with drug issues, that were dealing with violence, that were dealing with all sorts of terrible things happening in the community. And I thought to myself, oh God, this is God trying to tell me what I have in store if I do this. And right at that moment in my mind, I heard a voice that said, these are my children and I love them, but there's no one to tell them that, and they are dying. And I thought, that's way, way too big for me. This is because I heard people getting callings and stuff like that. So this is way too big of a calling. And the answer I got for that was, did you think I wasn't going to be with you? Now, I've always considered God, when they say God is love, I would say that you replace the word God with love in any sentence, and it's really the truth. It's your love. It's the love of everyone. So that just kind of sealed it for me, that I needed to be that person. I needed to, follow this path, and this is where I belonged. And everyone else needed to know that we're loved, that we are loved, and that we are loved. So
and that's exactly the whole point of this, is to make people understand. Well, it's like the concept to me is that if not a lot of people know exactly who we are, what we go through and stuff. So when they start humanizing us, they start loving us. And for people who don't know, my family is very Catholic, and people normally go, oh my God, your family's Catholic. No, my family's good. My family's great. My family told me if I didn't marry my wife, I was insane. They'd smack me. My family, I told them I was transitioning. They said the only thing they worried about was, are you going to be in a lot of pain for surgery? Yeah. Like, what do we need to do to support you? And this is a family that they're in their 70s, they're in their 80s. They follow the truth of what it means to be a good, kind Catholic person. So to me, it's like, I'm still loved. I need to show other people in the world that I'm still loved. And other people need to know that we're still loved, because if you think about it, why would someone who creates people in their image but lets us get over things, overcome so we can be stronger, why would he hate us for overcoming? It doesn't make sense. It's a journey he creates us. So I love that. That's absolutely beautiful.
That's kind of what led me into that, and to not be afraid, because it was my purpose, it was my goal, it's what I was meant to do. Later on, I said I kind of called myself one of God's clowns. We're here to make people realize that we're all the same, and there's really very little difference. God is no respecter of gender. God is no respecter of your disability, or your hair color, your skin color, nothing like that. It's who you are. It's that light inside, and you need to let that shine.
No, exactly. I understand. It's like, I'm one person's like, oh, I can't believe you would change your body. I was like, well, you wear glasses. And he was like, so I'm like, you're changing your body. You're adjusting it. It's just kind of the same concept. So you moved from Indiana. By the way, I don't know if I told you this, but I actually met my wife in Indiana.
Oh, yeah? Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Our first date was in a cornfield. Insert joke there. Yeah. And then then I dragged her down to Florida for a little bit so I could finish my degree. And now we're up here for her school, up here in Boston for her. But I met her in India. Did you start your transition in Florida, or did you actually start in Indiana? Like, how did you go about this process, since you went about it different times than what I'm doing it? Because it's a lot easier for me than it was for you.
Sure. Yeah. For me, I moved to Florida. There was multiple reasons. This was one of them. The other reason was I was going nowhere in Indiana. There were no job prospects for me. I had just finished college, and there was very little job prospects for me in Indiana regarding computers. I had finished, doing all of that, and then it was like I'm just being a bagging clerk at a local grocery store. It's like this is so stupid.
Yeah.
So friends of mine moved to Florida. They moved to Sarasota. And so they said, why don't you come down here and see what you can find? So I came down to Florida, and instantly I got a job working on cruise ships.
Nice.
And that was really cool for me because I got to meet so many different people from so many different walks of life, so many different ideas of religion, ideas of culture, ideas, of everything, sexuality. So it began to put a more human face than what I would ever be able to see in my tiny little town in Indiana, where there were plenty of cornfields, by the way. So for that's what really kind of opened that door and made that possible. I also moved because I didn't know, I needed to get away and find out more about myself away from my family. So it kind of all followed through as this was where I was meant to be.
That's wonderful. How is your family now with everything?
So my family is really good. I remember I was so scared to say anything to them. I told my brother David at the time. He was the first person I told anything to, and I had in my mindset that it would be easier for them to hear me being gay than being being trans. I don't know why I had that in my mindset. I was young and stupid. And so I told my brother, said, I need to tell you I'm gay. And he said, okay. And then it promptly apparently went and got drunk because he didn't know how I was going to tell the family. And before I had the chance to tell the family, before he had the chance to tell the family anything, I decided that that wasn't right. I was not telling the truth. And I always felt like I should be truthful to my family. So I wrote a letter. I wrote a physical letter and sent it, and mom and dad got it and read it. I got a phone call at work that Friday, and it was my mom. And she said, how are you doing? I said, I'm fine. How are you doing? And she said, I'm fine. We're fine. She said, just want you to know you're still my child, and I love you no matter what.
Yeah,
and that it was just like, oh, God.
Yeah, that I know the feeling. Oh, that weight.
So my dad had some issues. He had some issues to begin with, but then once he finally got to talk with me, got to see me just getting started in transition and seeing where I was going with it and who I am, that I wasn't becoming somebody different than who grew up. Then he realized and he understood, and like everything started to make sense. At that point, my dad became my champion. Nobody said anything about me and got away with it. Period. He'd knock him out. So yeah, my family became very, very much my champions. So
I love.
I was lucky. I was very lucky because I know there's plenty that has not happened, and it's that breaks my heart every time I hear it, because I can't imagine caring about somebody that long. You brought them into the world, you loved them, you saw them when they were babies, and you watched them grow, and you're seeing them become who they want to become, and you're seeing them actually be the person that they're meant to be, and you shun them for it. That just it doesn't register.
Yeah, no, my wife has that actually.
I'm so sorry.
She's actually started a nonprofit. It's the first one of its kind in the U.S. for the adult estranged children. So, she has family that she's estranged from. Actually, she's estranged from her entire family, both sides, unfortunately. And it just doesn't make any sense, because I'm sitting there with, I look at her, she's an amazing human being. She pays for her education. She gets scholarships, everything, no debts. Like, this woman's worked her butt off. And I'm like, how do you guys just not compute that? But I feel lucky, like with my family too, like you do. And I see these kids and their parents kick them out. And I'm like, you know what? It's okay. You have a new brother. You have a support system. We're here for you. And I think that's what I do love about the trans community is we see people, for the most part, we're very helpful to anybody and very